Okay, let me just go to the notes here. And we're going to be talking about the sage. All right. So again, I realize for a lot of students that I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. You know, the thing is, we don't have to do this, but you got to find something that you're willing um, to improve your skill set. Um, and certainly, if you're going into computer science, any kind of STEM related career that involves mathematics, you probably should learn how to use, what's known as a computer algebra system. So again, I just want to remind you, if you click on this link over here, it'll bring you to the Sage website where you can actually run these commands using somebody else's computer. In other words, you don't have to install Sage on your computer. I've installed Sage on my computer though. And the reason I want Sage on my computer is it allows me to use my computer's resources to do computation. I'm not depending on anyone else to do it. So I have Sage running now on my computer, and I'm using a terminal. And there's many ways to run Sage. I'm not saying a terminal is the only way to do that. But again, if you're thinking about moving forward in a STEM-related career, you'd have to be able to, do what's known as a command line prompt at some point. All right. And again, the sooner you get your feet wet in the water, so to speak, and you get adjusted as temperature changes, the quicker this is going to go for you. And I type in the commands I'm seeing. Reset. I think I can do that. This is about the complex numbers, by the way. What does reset do? It kind of just gives me a clean slate, so to speak. And it's electronic slate. I always say clean sheet of paper. Let's try the square root of -1. Let's see what happens. And it gives me the letter I. Now that might be different than I have in the notes. In the notes, I just used a lowercase I. But that's where some controversy is. Typically, I, in mathematics, at least the typeset I, is going to indicate the unit imaginary, which is square root of -1. All right. But Sage uses I in a different way. So they use the uppercase I for the unit imaginary. So be aware of that. The letter I means the square root of -1 now. So if I put I squared down, that's going to give me -1, as expected, as expected. All right, so let's just, this is examples that we've done in class already. And I'm just going to type in an arithmetic problem now, which is 1/2 plus 1/2 star I. And I'm going to raise it to the 10th power. And we've actually done this problem. What does it give me? 1/32 of an I. We've done that one. All right. Let's put the next thing down. X equals a var. I know I say this a lot to you. We don't need to define X as a variable in Sage, but it's a good idea to define your variables in computer science. Okay. So I'm going to say now the next line of code, I'm just typing this in, by the way, assume. I want to assume that X is a complex number now. So I'm telling Sage now, assume X is a complex number. All right, now I'm going to solve. X to the 6th power equals 64, with the assumption that X is a complex number. Now I want to point out, someone says, what are you getting back there? Well, I'm getting back, as expected, 6 separate answers. All right, so I'm getting 6 separate answers. Let me go through those 6 separate answers for you. And we've done this before. This here, at least I hope you've done it before, I should say. This here, well, that's obvious. That's a 3rd one. The 4th one, that's the 5th one, and then the 6th one. There's 6 roots. Right, we're expecting that. It's a 6-degree polynomial. We're expecting to get 6 roots. Let's type the next one in, solve. X to the 5th power plus the square root of 3 plus I is equal to 0. That's an equation. A double equal sign is indicating an equation, not an assignment. There's a difference between the two. And someone says, how many solutions are you expecting to get there? 5. Not that I want to list them out for you. They're complicated solutions, right? I'm going to clear now. I'm going to reset. And what I would like to do, whoops, I'm sorry about that. I didn't type in reset correctly. Let me clear again. Let me start fresh. What I'd like to do is just go back over this and point out certainly we're expecting you to do work, but that's the equation we just did, right? This is the one we just did in Sage. Let's just scroll back and let's put this one down now. All right, so what am I going to do? I'm going to say X is a variable. I'm going to say, and again, if you can't remember, we want to assume that X is complex. Do you remember that? Let's go back over there and make sure you know what that means. Assume X is a complex number. Let's go back to the problem. Assume X is a complex number. You're going to make mistakes. I've done that. Solve X to the 5th power minus 1 is equal to, look at the double equal sign, 0, but I want to solve for X. Now, granted, if I make a mistake, I'll know I made a mistake when I see the output. What am I expecting? Well, I've studied the material. I'm expecting to see 5 solutions to it. And I'm seeing the solution. I'm not going to count them up for you, but I'm seeing the 5 solutions. By the way, these solutions are also written down over here. Someone says, what form do you want? Well, if you can compute the number, we'd like you to compute the number. So for example, the first solution should be the 5th root of 1, which is 1. Cosine of 0 plus I sine of 0. Well, it just should be 1. And the question is, do we have that answer listed? And the answer is listed. It's right over here. It's probably the simplest solution to the problem. All right. Now going to the other ones, I want to point out, you might find them difficult to go through, but you're expected to do that. You really are expected to do that. All right. And what I mean by that is write down these things over here. They might be difficult problems to do, but the bottom line is we're trying to get you to do things by hand. That's all we're trying to do. Do things by hand. All right. So again, what we're encouraging you to do, look at the Sage website, go there. Even if you're just simply just typing thuggishly into a computer, you know what? You'll learn something by doing that. Type this stuff in. Think how it related to the handwork. Think why a computer might be useful when problems get really, really, really difficult. Think about that, right? What kind of problems do we give you in homework? Things that are really easy to do, right? In the real world, though, problems are not easy to do. That's why we need to learn to use a computer algebra system. All right, thank you.